In this village, Halloween wasn't celebrated. Or rather, they pretended it wasn't celebrated. No one carved pumpkins, dressed up, or went house to house. But every year, as the night of 31st October to 1st November fell upon the fields and crumbling fences, the villagers tried to go to bed early, avoid looking out their windows, and most importantly, stay indoors until dawn. Because one day, many years ago, someone did leave. And they didn't return the same. The first person of the year was Mark, a 52-year-old tractor driver, a widower, a heavy, down-to-earth man who didn't believe in anything but diesel, hangovers, and tomorrow's shift. He went outside to smoke at night. The sky was strange, too low, as if it was pressing down on the top of his head. The moon was a yellowish spot, and the fog was crawling between the houses, as if it was sniffing around. Mark lit a cigarette, and at that moment, he felt that the cigarette had no weight. He looked at his fingers. The fingers were translucent. "No way," he whispered, and his own voice sounded like it was coming from a well. Mark took a step and his feet didn't touch the ground. He hovered in the air about 20 centimeters from the porch. The body became cold, but not from the cold, from the lack of heat as such. My heart wasn't beating. There was no breathing. And yet he was thinking, remembering, and afraid. He was a ghost. By morning, there were 7 people like Mark. Melanie, a retired librarian. Sergey and Linda, a married couple who had been together for 40 years. Antonio, a local paramedic. Ilona, a police officer. And Veronika, a woman who was the talk of the village. They all left their homes for different reasons. Noise, sleep, anxiety, or a bad feeling. And they all stopped being in their bodies. With the first roosters, they gathered at the old chapel on the edge of the village. It was drawn there like a magnet. "Are we here?" Linda asked, looking through her own palms. "No," Antonio said, listening to himself. "If we didn't exist, it would be different. It's like a stuck breath." "See you in the morning," Veronika said softly. "It's always like that." Everyone looked at her. "What do you mean, always?" Veronika looked up slowly. There were no whites in her eyes, only a murky, silvery depth. "I was the same. 20 years ago. That night. 3 people went missing then. They were found in the morning, but they left the village and never returned. They never told anyone what happened." Veronika stayed. "If we don't do what the night demands," she said, "we'll stay like this forever." The night demanded correction. Ghosts could not touch objects, but they could enter houses. They could see. They could hear. They could feel someone else's pain more intensely than their own. For each of them, the night revealed the place where they were most drawn: an old guilt, a stranger's misfortune, a forgotten sin. Mark found himself at the home of a neighbor he hadn't spoken to in 10 years. It was due to a foolish argument over land and stubbornness. The neighbor was drinking and slowly dying from loneliness. Melanie saw her abandoned library rotting away with her books, because she had once been offended by the village and shut herself away. Sergey and Linda saw each other. They realized that they had never said the most important things in their long lives. Ilona saw a case that she had closed for a bribe. Antonio saw a patient who could have been saved if he hadn't been in such a hurry to get home. Each ghost was shown something that couldn't be ignored. But there wasn't much time. With the dawn, either the flesh returned or the memory disappeared. "We can't change anything," said Ilona desperately. "We are just like this." "We can," said Veronika. "We can't touch things. But we can touch people." And so they went. Whispers in dreams. Cold on the skin. Words that sounded like their own thoughts. Mark stood next to his neighbor and cried for the first time in years, and the neighbor woke up with the feeling that he should call. Melanie made the chairman wake up in the middle of the night with the thought, "The library needs to be opened." Antonio saw how the mother of a deceased patient suddenly decided to go to the doctor instead of giving up. It wasn't magic. It was repentance filtered through fear. The dawn came suddenly. The sun broke through the fog. Sergei was the first to scream, from the pain, from the weight returning, from the red liquid in his body rushing back into his body. They fell to the ground, coughing, crying, laughing. Everyone except Veronika. She stood by the chapel, slowly fading away. "You are not coming back?" Linda asked. Veronika smiled. "For real?" Warmly. "I should have left a long time ago. I was just waiting for someone to stay human." She disappeared with the first ray of sunlight. Since then, Halloween hasn't been celebrated in the village. But the library still works. The neighbors have reconciled. And no one goes out at night unless they have to. And if they do, it's only to make sure they're still alive and have time to improve before dawn.